podcast. I'm DJ Ald, and today's guest is DJ Jenny J. DJ Jenny J has done a lot of great things, including being the creator of Dance It Out events. She collaborates with pop-up club experiences within the various venues in Long Island. She played at the Relate Festival in Miami, and she's played pride parades in after parties in Long Island. She also DJs and has DJed health and fitness, CrossFit, and running competitions across New York and Florida. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So my first question is, what's the first song you remember loving and why?
Wow, that is a loaded question. There's a lot of first songs because you have periods through your life that are so pivotal. But it's funny, I really didn't have that answer. I know you had mentioned that to me. I didn't have that answer until about the shower today, and when I was in the shower. And it came to me, the very first song I ever heard and felt was The Rose by Bette Midler. Mm-hmm. My grandmother loved that song. And the words, just everything was so profound. I was very young. And all through my life, my grandmother loved that song. My sister sang so beautiful. And she would sing it. And it would always be emotional. And rest her soul, she's not here now. But that song is very important because when you really listen to the words, I mean, if you can listen to it afterwards, it's pretty profound, the journey of the love, because music is love, basically.
Yes. Okay. What are your favorite genres to DJ to and or dance to? Because they might be separate. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely is separate. It depends on the people, the venue, what you're trying to accomplish, versus clubs, private parties, and when I have events. Usually what my events always would be going through the decades and hitting those genres. I'm going to be 50 years old, so that's the plus side of getting all those decades of music that's in my, it's in my memories. But yeah, I would say it would be my favorite, or if it's regarding to my events, I would say it's more 90s club, disco, pop, hip hop, very open format. That would be there. In regarding to the fitness, absolutely would be nothing but high energy, genres in the fitness area. I work out and I know exactly what I need to get going. So that is another benefit.
Okay. And what do you like to dance to?
What do I like to dance to? I love Latin, salsa. Basically, if it has a good beat, it's hard to just pick one. Because when I dance and when I, play music or whatever it is, it's really moving my energy. It's what I'm feeling at the moment. And it could be a sad song and I'll still dance. So it's hard to pick just one.
Okay. What are your favorite genres to listen to when you aren't DJing?
Deep house, future house. I would say Afro house, tribal, ecstatic is recently I've been really listening to. But my go-to always would be deep house.
Okay. What made you decide to become a DJ?
I didn't decide.
When did DJing decide that you would become a DJ?
That's funny. I would say it's 5 years ago, when it sort of happened. Basically, what happened was it was a major life event that had happened in my life. And my wife was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. I also suffer, which she's doing very well now, mind you. But a nurse had told me in the hospital, because we were there for a long time, that I needed to get a hobby. And my headphones just so happened to be, to break a day or two later. And I was on my way home from the hospital, and I said, I got to get these headphones, because when I have anxiety or anything big in my life, my go-to is to put those headphones on, because that's my escape. It's not just 5 years ago I became a DJ. Music has been talking to me, obviously now, even back to the All the Way to the Rose. That's how I deal with my anxieties. So stopping at that store, it was a store called DJ Now, and there was an academy in the back called Caffeine Academy, and it said DJ lessons available. And I remember what that nurse had said to me, and when that nurse told me, I thought that was pretty. I just couldn't understand it. Like, how can I think about myself at this very moment, or to get a hobby when this major, scariest moment in my life. And fast forward 5 years later, that was the turning point. And I met Sal Mastro. He's my maestro. He is amazing DJ. And I took lessons 1 hour a week. And I said, all right, I won't shower when I go to the hotel, the hospital, and I'll just do this, for myself. And I did. Here, I think the first song was he was playing was Justin Bieber. Believe it or not. And seeing the songs marry each other and feeling it at the same time, I knew right then and there that I just have to keep doing that. See, because when I was a kid, I had I went to a garage sale and I bought an old mixer. I had 2 record players, and I made these horrible mixes, but I gave them to my friends, like, here, and that's my form, the way I say I love you. I come to figure that out. It's a gift, So it's kind of funny how full circle that we had this major event happen to us, and we either did one or two things. You face life and you go hard and you do everything that you ever dreamed about doing and believe in yourself, and that's what we did. And fast forward, we had a party, to celebrate Sharon's life. Everybody wanted to see her. And we had a party, and the guest of honors were the nurses, because seeing what they went through, this is prior COVID.
Yeah.
The pain and suffering that they go through every single day. That's just profound. It's something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. And so we had this party, and it was called Hope, and Sharon was there, obviously. And seeing those nurses dance. Now, I wasn't the DJ that night. I was in the process of getting lessons. Seeing them dance did something to me, and a thought had come to me that it was in the middle of the night, and it was very profound, and I wrote it down, and it said, gather the people. It's a revolution, all inclusive, never exclusive. And that's how Dance It Out was born, because it's not necessarily for LGBT, we're all going through something that we need to dance it out to, because life is tough. And so that I would find venues that where we can go, because there's no clubs anymore the 90s, there's happening.
Or earlier.
Or earlier 80s, 70s. But it just, to give that venue, just to take, even if it's just 4 hours. Yeah. And you forget about what you're doing. And we're all going through life, just to forget and let the music move you. That it built itself. I didn't become a DJ. I don't feel that I don't have to become anything. Yeah. Because it's the only thing that's been there for me for my entire life is music. And it helps me communicate, because sometimes it's hard for me to communicate how I'm feeling. Yeah. Music doesn't. It helps me to show you how I'm feeling, per se, So that's how it all started. So when that Dance It Out came, it just, it built itself. And from that experience of meeting so many people, I was able to, we have I bought all the equipment and started my journey of spreading music, not becoming a star or a DJ, I need to spread music. That message to me was very clear that that's what we need to do. And that's how I became a DJ. What I really like is that now that I've been exposed to so many amazing people, DJs. It just, it is unreal how much life that I've experienced in these past 5 years, and the people I've met, and even how music is teaching me, even through my greatest pains, fears, and everything, to just keep moving forward through it, keep spreading the music, and love. And I don't have an answer to why or how, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's healing, and that's my journey.
Well, that's a great journey, and it seems like it was kind of written in the stars when you had that mixer and those little turntables that you were like gonna someday come to this, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's really cool to think about, to step yourself outside for a second and see, how it evolves, just
Yeah.
like almost like when you're DJing and you have a specific, okay, I'm going to come in and I'm going to, play this. It never happens that way. It's a
Not
train.
entirely, not entirely, because then in the moment
Yeah.
you're like, oh no, this song will work better here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Because like you're thinking of the song that's on now, you have to think 3, 4 songs down the road,
Yeah.
and, the variables always change. It's like a train. Once that train starts,
Yeah.
you have to be able to adapt to what's going on and still deliver and deliver that music so where people can feel that music and dance.
Exactly. Exactly. And speaking to the fact of, like, you talked about the pop-ups and how there's not a lot of clubs the way there used to be. I recently heard that there's 13 lesbian bars in the entire country.
Oh, really?
So yeah, that so many of them have closed that there's virtually none left anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's a little bit of a sad thing, because that's where, the gay clubs, that's where I came out. That's where I used to go to a club in Seattle called the Monastery, and it was mixed, like you said, because it was an after hours club. So when the bars closed at 2, everybody in the city came to the Monastery. There were two choices, the Monastery or Borden Street, and everybody came. So it was just all walks of life. And so that was a really great sort of like safe place to sort of just rediscover myself as my new being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how did you, or do you build your business or your market yourself?
Well, it's still evolving, obviously. Social media is, helpful with marketing, but basically, the way, from my experience right now, it just evolves. You meet one person, and you connect, and you collaborate, and you make music, and then you go down a different, area and venue. Someone may want this. Every single event, I learn something. How can I do this better next time? Or, whatever may come up.
Right.
And so that's why it's always evolving. But in regards to, the marketing, I think if you just keep, your primary purpose, you won't need to market so much because it just spreads.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think are some of the beginner mistakes you made, that you wish you'd known more about at the time?
Contracts. Handshakes are tough, and it's, they can go either way. Contracts are very important. It's very clear, defined list of items, what is needed and what you desire and what will be delivered. It's a learning curve,
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about your first live gig and your first paid gig, if it's different. What did it feel like? How did it go?
Well, the first live gig was Dance It Out. It was, what did it feel like? It was unbelievable. The nerves. I remember getting ready, and we had sold it out on the first event, and I was getting in the shower. I remember crying because I was so nervous.
Mhm.
It really took me, but the moment I got behind that deck and felt that music, that all went away. I'm like, oh, that,
Yeah.
which is why I always play music.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you get behind the deck and the first song plays flawlessly, like with no technical difficulties, and you're like, okay, I can request, I can relax.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a whole thing too with the prep to an event is thinking, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
What can I do to remedy it now?
And what is my backup if I can't?
What is my backup? And what's my backup of the backup?
Exactly.
What's the backup of the backup of the backup?
Playlist on the phone. And so, what about your first paid gig?
My first paid gig, that was actually from another DJ referral. Her name is Jess Buttons, amazing DJ, also a mentor. She had needed some coverage, and she had said to me, can you go here? It's just a small venue, and just a few people just going to open up and play music while the band's on break and blah 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 blah. I get out of the car. There's 2,500 people there.
Oh my God, that is not a small venue.
It was funny. I remember sitting in that car. I'm like, look, the name of the show, you gotta be kidding me. I was so nervous, but it was, of course you have an option, you either face it and you recover or you run, so that's one good thing about me. If I'm afraid, I'm not afraid to go through and forge right through, even though it is anything. But yeah, that was an amazing feeling. I remember driving home like, yes. So that was the first. It was beautiful. Disco Unlimited was the group. Great group. And the 70s disco.
Yeah. And also, the entertainment motto or mantra is the show must go on, right? So you have to, and we are entertainers. And so, you had to, it's showtime. You just have to show up.
Yeah.
But I would have been freaked out too. I would have been like, ah.
Yeah. It was also like my first time because there was a full band like hooking up to, variables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So challenge, but we got through it and it was great. And I think she didn't tell me that many people were going to be there because
yeah, you would have been like, no, there's no way. Tell me about your experiences during the pandemic as a DJ. What was it like at the beginning? How did you pivot, if you did pivot? And how long was it until your first live gig again? And then what was it like to do a live gig again?
Okay, yeah, well, but the pandemic really didn't change anything with, for me in the sense of practicing. I practice the skill set every single day. In regards to the Dance It Out events, I mean, obviously that everything was put on hold and other live events was put on hold. Music actually helped the pandemic for me because it was a chance to organize your creates, organize your songs, do more research on different types of music genre. So it was an opportunity to really, stay focused into that.
Okay. So when you got back out, what did it feel like to play a live gig again?
And it felt great. It felt like a new freedom though too, because obviously I think we all can identify that that cooped up, wanting connection with people just wasn't there. I mean, I've done streaming live but just to have people and connection around you, feeling that energy, there's something to be said about that. And I found that as soon as people started going out and there was people dancing, they just want connection. They want to be free and happy and they're tired of being cooped up. Yeah. That was an invigorating feeling.
Yeah. That sounds great. What do you feel your greatest achievement has been up to this point as a DJ?
I think the greatest as a DJ the fact that I've learned this actual trade at 45. I used, I'm retired, and I used to be in, insurance and software, and, you get life that goes along in the way, and all of a sudden you have to redefine yourself,
Yeah.
That's a major accomplishment. That is, in essence, to actual, limiting that bubble. I would have to say Relate Fest was really another big accomplishment in addition to Dance It Out. It's just so hard to pinpoint, but Relate Fest was really good too, because that really was 2.5 days long of, consistent, not 4 to 6 hours, with entertainment and, coordinating with that. And that was in Miami, and also an amazing time. It was great.
Yeah. How do you keep the music and DJing fresh for yourself? Like, how do you avoid burnout?
Oh, can we ever get burned out with music?
I think sometimes it's like, well, how do I, like, for me, a lot of times it's not burnout, but I'm like, I need something new to stimulate me. I need new music, or I need a new genre to work on, or
Yeah.
a new skill to hone, or.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, research with blogs and following your favorite, DJs, and being exposed to those genres, listening to worldwide music, not just yourself to one genre. That's how it goes. And again, based on what I'm feeling, like for right now, I'm really getting into liquid drum and bass. It's been around, but I really feel that that's speaking to me right now. So when I'm home, I'm, playing drum and bass, or Afro house or whatever. Again, it all goes down to how am I feeling? And sometimes my greatest pain makes the best mixes.
Yeah.
Did you find that?
Yeah, I remember. I tell this story that one of my friends is a drum and bass DJ in New Zealand, and I listened to a little bit of a few of her sets, and I'm like, yeah, this seems very chaotic. I don't know about it. And then one day I was having a bad day at work, and my go-to when I'm like feeling like I gotta like get it all out, like I'm frustrated or angry or whatever, is like punk, Patti Smith, that kind of stuff, right? And so I was going to play some punk rock, at the decks. And I thought, I have Beatport Link. And I was like, well, let me look at Beatport Link. Maybe I can just play some stuff through there, stream stuff just to play. And then I came across the drum and bass, and I'm like, let me give this a try. And I started playing, and I'm like, oh, this works. This helps me get it out. Yeah, okay, this is cool. And so then I started playing it, and then I started doing jungle, which was sort of a precursor to drum and bass. And then I started finding these great, like I have this whole like collection of drum and bass tracks from the early 90s that are like, that I just stumbled on. So I always like to challenge myself to new genres. I recently played some trap sets, and people would, if they know my age, they think, oh, she's going to play the classic disco and yacht rock and old R&B and soul and all of that stuff. And I try to challenge myself all the time to play new genres to keep it fresh for me, and also because I love music like you. So if there's a genre I don't know about, then I want to get into it. I'm trying to find more. There's 2 genres that I want to get more tracks for. One is hyperpop, and one is called Vinehouse, and it's Vietnamese house. And I can't, like, they're obscure enough that I haven't been able to find like enough tracks. But I want to really check them out. So yeah. What do you think have been your biggest challenges in the business? And what do you think are the biggest challenges for women DJs in general?
I think the challenge in what I experienced in the business and seen so far is the pretense of people thinking that you're just plugging a phone in and playing music.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenge. You know how much time and effort prior to something that you know, you try to
And money.
create. And money, yeah, there's a lot of money invested into it. And sometimes I think because people don't realize how much, I mean, I didn't realize until I really got into DJing, how much really does going into it, and creating an actual event in itself too. You know, you have a lot of hats on.
Yeah.
Uh, that's a big challenge. I think DJs are underpaid, collectively, everybody. I think women DJs are a little as well, a little bit more because of the pay scale thing. I've experienced some that, you know, how do I say this nice? You know, it's not just we want to go out to the club because we're 50 years old and we're
Yeah.
missing something out. You know, it's a true driven purpose.
Yeah. Then people are like, oh, you're just trying to relive your glory days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
No, I love playing club music. I love
Mhm.
dancing to club music. I love playing club music.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So it's just a natural progression.
sure. It is.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we're playing the club music, you know, you're going in your mind, you're reliving, you know, those experiences. And that's what people are remembering too. That's what's important, like playing to that crowd. You know, you kind of gauge to see where they're aged at. Because usually, for me, at least 20 and 30s, people in the 20 and 30s are the most profound when they're, let's go out. And as
Yeah.
life goes on, life gets, you know, difficult. We all go through challenges. And we always mentally go back to a specific time in the era
Yeah.
that triggers the reaction on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So that's how I gauge things when I'm playing.
Have you ever had a situation where you think that your gender you identify, what's your pronouns?
I'm she her.
Okay. Where you thought that maybe you were being either sort of underbid or underappreciated because you were a woman, like they were trying to sort of like get you to come for a lesser amount of money?
Yeah, that's happened to me before, and I don't. It's my guess because I really don't know. It's not said, so it's surmised. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've experienced that before.
Yeah, I think sometimes too, for me too, it's hard sometimes for me to value myself appropriately. And I think that that's maybe a sort of a socialization of women to often sort of like lowball ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I've had like people while I'm here in California, people from Michigan asking me, you know, can you do this? Can you do that? And when I give them the current price that I'm giving them, I don't hear back. And at first I'm like, oh, but those are gigs. And I'm like, no, I gotta stand firm because I am actually worth that much.
Yeah, you are. It's knowing your worth. You're right. You couldn't have said it any better. And that's like a personal journey too. It all comes down to boundaries that, you
Yeah.
know, what you're allowed, you know, gonna allow to cross and not. You know, there's some instances, you know, family members, of course, but when it comes you know, event organizers, promoters, or whoever you're playing for,
Yeah,
knowing your worth is very important, not only in DJing and in your real life.
exactly. That's why I'm leaning towards promoting my own events so I have more control over it. Because
A
then
lot of
the
hats.
money I make is the money I make.
Well, yeah, I agree. It is nice to have your own events, but there is a lot also to go along with it, with
Yeah.
all the hats. But we have fun.
Uh, do you produce your own music?
I am in the process of laying down a blueprint of a song that we're going to do. So I'm starting the process of actually, you know, learning the core of it instead of the live reproduction of
Yeah.
the going into the recording now. It's driving me down that road.
Cool.
And well,
Well, you'll have to come back sometime and let me know what the challenges were that you faced getting started in production.
yeah. Luckily, my maestro Sal, he is God sent. You know how he understands music, so he's always helped me. I have many DJs that we all help each other. We
Yeah.
back each other up. always, always. And that's how I met that other DJ, Jess. Is one of the first things she had said to me was, you know, you just keep practicing. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes the industry is not going to treat you kind. You just keep practicing and you
Yeah.
keep going. You know, so those you get what you need through pieces out your life, and you always support each other. And that's why it's all inclusive, never exclusive. I don't want to specifically play, you know, okay, I'm only going to play LGBT. It's for everybody. We're
Yeah.
all supposed to be in the element, music, love.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's how you and I developed our friendship, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Is through sort of exchanging ideas and tips and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. It's wild how much similarities I seen that, you know, the challenges or how do we figure, you know, how do you figure this? How do you figure that? You know, we have that same mindset of trying to get it nice and organized for the event. So that's cool. I
Nice,
like that. Yeah.
nice and organized. And then we discovered that we also have very similar tastes in genres.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So,
Yes, we do.
all right. Lightning round.
Lightning.
What's your favorite track right now and why?
What's my favorite track right now?
So, for example, what track do you find in like almost every set? Which one is always in there sort of as like a potential go-to?
I would say, believe it or not, a talk by Disclosure. I love the energy in that. No matter when you play it, it's a remix of it. It just pulls me every time for the past year or so. But that ever again always changes.
Yeah.
You know,
So what's it
Mhm.
called again?
Talk Disclosure.
Talk. Okay,
Hmm.
cool. Very cool.
And it's a you know, a higher BPM of the actual edit, and it just blends. I'll also always play. I'll also play like, you know, Latin or suavemente if I'm at that specific, you know, type of place where I can play nice loud dance music. You know, not in a, you know, in a gym or stuff like that, but suavemente always gets me too.
Yeah. I always end up playing certain artists. Lately, I love Dua Lipa, almost anything she does.
Oh
So I
yeah,
really
she's good.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always a favorite track in whatever genre I'm playing that
Mhm.
somehow seems, even when I'm like, oh, I'm not going to play that because I play it all the time, it somehow still ends up in the playlist. And
Mhm.
sometimes I'm just like, I got to play it. I just have to play it because I love it so much. Okay. Favorite piece of equipment and why?
Oh, my SD2, my
Okay.
board,
And
music.
why?
Why? That's the vessel that I'm able to manipulate the music. And every time it's never the same. Every time I make a mix, it's
Hmm.
different every time.
Yeah. Okay. And then what is your favorite self care technique?
Ooh, I like that. Well, first thing when I get up in the morning, I go to the gym. I used to be over 325 pounds. So health and fitness right now is a high value in my life that has to be part of my daily routine. It's my medicine in addition to the
Hmm.
music. That fitness is so important. Our diet regime, you know, the inflammatories that we consume, you know, really causes a lot of problems in your whole body.
Hmm.
So it's just a must. You have to.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to fitness?
Sure. Well, being 325 pounds, I wasn't at the gym very much, but I was an athlete as a child, and wound up getting extremely morbidly obese. I have some physical challenges that required a lot of steroids, and I just got to the point where I couldn't get out of the bed and go to the bathroom, you know, and I needed to help the doctors help me. I looked into alkalizing your body, and then little by slowly by making those shifts weight started coming off. And I remember telling my rheumatologist, I just can't beat the fatigue at that point. I think I was down like 75 pounds by then. And she told me to go to the gym. I was like, I just told you I was exhausted. You're telling me to go to the gym. But that was another little, like, just like, but that nurse told me to get a hobby. That was the first time I said, okay, I got to do anything to feel better,
Mm-hmm.
and I was hooked immediately. It was a HIIT class, and graduated down up until CrossFit right now and weightlifting. So it's a fun journey. And also too, when I was with my lessons of DJing, all I really wanted to do at that point was, all right, I have to get on the treadmill for 20 minutes. Let me make a 20-minute mix and then I'll go. That's how this all, started for me, set aside the party, and combining them together. You need to have movement, you need to have music, you need to have like, it's like I'm not fixing, but living a better way of life physically, emotionally, and also music now is speaking to me spiritually. So it's like the trifecta.
Yeah. And did you start the weight loss journey and the exercise journey before your wife was diagnosed with cancer, or did that kind of coincide?
No, it didn't coincide. I was already on my journey, and that, when she had lost all that weight, it was just like, oh, okay, we're eating clean. I didn't think of anything. And I think I was down almost like, almost 100 pounds, maybe 100, no, yeah, 100 pounds by then. And that was 5 years ago. So my weight loss started around 2012.
Okay. Favorite woman DJ and why?
I would say Nora and Pure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Talk
her
about
music
going
a
on
lot.
a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I also like about her too is that she's humble, and you can see her giving her love out and it being well received. And she's just an amazing DJ.
Yeah, and her music is really powerful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You gotta be what?
I gotta be.
You gotta be. Finish the sentence. You gotta be.
You gotta be you.
You gotta be you. You gotta be you. That's a great answer. Yeah.
I used to always say, if my friend Nancy is listening, we always used to say, you gotta be kidding me. Every time something would happen, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But now I'm going to call her after this and say, you know what? You gotta be you.
Yeah. You gotta be you. Do you have anything coming up you want to announce or plug or talk about?
Well, I'll be going down to Florida. I'll be getting a lot more events down there. Got some CrossFit competitions coming up. Also, too, we're starting in collaborations of getting another Dance It Out together, which is, stay tuned. Follow me.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be big. But I'm really excited about the CrossFit competitions. I like the fact that the time is good too during the day, and to combine both health and fitness.
Yeah.
It's a great avenue to be going down.
Do you play at the start and finish lines?
Yeah. It depends. If it's a running event, usually it's by the start and finish lines. But at the CrossFit competitions, usually held in gyms, and you just get your space, and there's certain parts of the gym that's where all the workout of the the day or whatever the competition is doing, and it goes sometimes up to 6 to 8 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know how sometimes the energy usually during in a club, how it goes up and down. It's very different with CrossFit. It's let's just say if you have like 8 different teams starting, everybody wants that that hard hitting music right away.
So it's bangers all the way. Bangers
Yeah.
all the way, all day.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being my guest on You Gotta Be.
You're very welcome.
And
Thank you for having me.
thank you. And we're here every last Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, I'm based in a random Airbnb in California. So that would be noon to 1 p.m. on the West Coast. And do the math for everything in between because I'm not good with time. So thank you so much. And we'll be checking in later.
Yes.
We got ourselves some plans.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.